Okay, let's continue. So we're up to Shin Tes Zayin Seif Zayin. Now we're talking about trapping snakes and things like that. So what would you say? Do you think Nechoshim are min nitzayid? Are they considered animals that are normally trapped? The answer is yes. So take a look at the Mechaba. Hatzod Nechoshim v'akrovim. If a person traps snakes and scorpions b'Shabbos, or Ishar Remosim hamazikim, or other animals that cause injury, im l'refua, if you're doing it l'refua, for medical reasons, we'll see what that means, chayev, v'im b'shvil shelo yishchenu muta. If you're just trapping the animal so that the animal won't bite you, then muta, you're allowed to do that. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Kotan Chavvov, chayev, the mikri davish b'mina nitzayid, because a snake or an akrov is considered something which is ordinarily caught. If you look at 38, this is very interesting, Geder. How do you define mina nitzad? If you go and stop 10 people on the street, I think 9, if not 10, will tell you we're not snake trappers. We don't do that in our spare time. So the majority of people don't trap snakes. So what does it mean? It's mina nitzad. So bia hagan or nissen karelis. So Rav Karelis explains, we look at people who do trap snakes. Why are you trapping a snake? Since the majority of snake trappers don't do it to sort of keep away these snakes from them and to prevent injury, they trap snakes in order to use the snakes for whatever reason. And therefore they're considered minay nitzot. Now, if you look back on the back of page, on footnote 21, on something we did yesterday or the day before, he says the following. He contrasts this with a different case. Even though many people trap, mosquitoes and flies, sorry, they're not considered minay nitzot, mosquitoes and flies, because why do people trap flies and mosquitoes and things like that? It's just to make sure they don't bite you. You're not going to use the flies and mosquitoes for anything. And therefore, maybe a few people do, but they're bottled, they're nothing. So you see a very interesting get there of what's considered minay nitzot. When it comes to nechoshim, you're right. First of all, the vast majority of people don't trap snakes, but that's not the problem. Those who do, why are they doing it? They're doing it because they want to use the skin, they want to use for medical reasons or whatever it may be, and therefore it's considered minay nitzot. Even though there are some people who trap snakes to keep them away, they just keep them in because they don't harm them, but they're the minority. Mosquitoes and flies and things like that, they're not considered minay nitzot because even those people who do trap them, they're doing so just to keep them away from them, not to use the action animals. So that's a very important get there of what minay nitzot is. Okay, let's carry on. Sif Kotan Chof Zayin. Ve'im b'shvil. So if you're trapping the snake l'refua, then you're chayev. Says the Mishnah Berurah Chof Zayin. Hainu afilu b'makom she'ein regilim l'nechoshim lahomis. Now even what? Sorry, you're right. It's going on the next shtickle. So if you're doing it l'refua, then you're chayev. But if you're doing it so that the animal won't bite you, then it's mutter. Sorry, yes, you're quite right. So says the Mishnah Berurah. Hainu afilu b'makom she'ein regilim l'nechoshim lahomis. So even if you've got snakes which are not dangerous, right? So you've got, like, for example, here, I can't remember what they're called, but you've got snakes in the fields, English sort of field snakes, whatever they're called. They're not dangerous, but you do see these snakes from time to time. They don't chase you, they're not running after you. So for you to go and kill them is asa. We'll get there in Hashem. But to trap them is muta. You can put a kli on top of them, or you tie them. You do something. Because this malacha of tzeda is a malacha she'en tzrich legufa. Because your intention is not to use the animal, not to trap them in order to use the animal. It's just that to prevent them from biting you. And if you knew that they would stay in situ, they would stay in their place and they wouldn't attack you and they wouldn't bite you, you wouldn't need to trap them. For Pata aval asa midrabanan. We know that melach she'en tzrich legufa is only a drabanan. It's pata aval asa. V'hacha mishum hezeka afilu es drabanan leka. And therefore, Chazal will not gaze in a situation where it might cause injury. What about the Rambam? The Rambam famously paskins that you're chayiv for a melach she'en tzrich legufa. Says the Mishnah Berurah afilu Rambam the mechayiv ba'alma b'lo melach she'en tzrich legufa. He says, generally speaking, a melach she'en tzrich legufa you're chayiv. Even the Rambam would agree that you're allowed to trap a snake who might bite you on Shabbos for costful time, and they say that the reason of the Rambam is mishum desvirlei dezelo mikri melacha klal fa'avik misasik ba'alma. It's not even a melacha. It's just misasik ba'alma. Kiven she'ein ritzoyin the be'etzem atzei the klal. I'm not interested at all in trapping this animal. I just want it away from me. V'adarabba kavnos alav riachos amilov. On the contrary, I'm trying to get it to get away from me, and therefore. It's even according to the Rambam, I'm allowed to trap a snake for Shabbos on Shabbos. Let me just, before we do one more footnote, let me just summarize. So what have we said? That you're allowed trapping snakes and scorpions on Shabbos. It depends why you're doing it. If you're doing it l'refuah, i.e., I want this animal, I want the snake, the skin, the actual animal, the meat, whatever it is, then you're chayiv because it's minnoy notzud. This is an animal which is ordinarily trapped, commonly trapped, and therefore there'll be an issa d'oraisa. Ve'im b'shvil shelo yishchenu, it's muta. So it's melach she'en tzrich legufa is potavel also, but mishum hazeka it's allowed. So to prevent the snake from biting it. So we'll come to that. We'll come to those the other shrotzim soon. But l'chara the same svara applies. If it's going to cause injury and it's going to bite you, then the same svara would apply. So anything which is of significant, a snake or a scorpion or a wasp or something like that, then that would be the same. That Seder would be mutter because it's a melach she'en tzrich legufa, plus a wasp is also ein minnoy notzud. Right? But a snake, even though it's minnoy notzud, it's melach she'en tzrich legufa, and therefore mishum hazeka lo goz rabbanan. Let's just do footnote 44. Interesting note. Omnon. And what about a situation where the snake injury is very distant, is very unlikely? They're not chasing after you, they're quite innocent and harmless. You're not allowed to trap them because their whole heter is mishum hezekin. If they're not going to trap, they're not going to injure you, there's no problem. However, to do some sort of incantation and snake charming and things like that, that would be allowed because that's not called derech tzeda. The kelev shecheshim shema yinoshach anoshim. You've got a wild dog and you're worried that it's going to attack or bite. Das hagon shlem zaman arbach. You're allowed to trap a wild dog on Shabbos, even with the intention to kill it, because it's a wild dog which can cause a lot of damage to a lot of people. To do that. So in short, trapping snakes and scorpions on Shabbos, if it's l'refuah, which means you want the actual animal, then it's issa d'oraisa. But if it's to make sure that it's b'shvil shelo yishchenu, they won't bite you, then it's muta because it's a melach she'en tzrich legufa mishum hazeka lo goz rabbanan. Seder.